Today I'm going to show you 4 of my favorite exercises that you can do to reduce low back pain right in this area on both sides when you're running. When low back pain pops up, most runners rely on stretches for this area to really just stretch out the low back to help reduce the pain. But the problem is those stretches are only going to chase the symptoms of tightness. They're not actually fixing why the tightness is coming on. So when we're running, when our leg is behind us, we're into hip extension right here. If we don't have enough hip extension from the hip joint and it can't go back into hip extension, which is coupled with hip external rotation, then we're gonna make up for this lost motion at the hip at our low back. So this can look like hyperextension of the low back, an excessive anterior pelvic tilt at the low back, but basically we are hinging at the low back, putting more load through this area, which over time, stride after stride, can cause more pain. In order to decrease that pain, we have to mobilize the hip and also stabilize the low back. So the first 2 exercises that I show you are to mobilize the hip, and the last 2 are to help stabilize the back. As a physical therapist, I've used this with hundreds of runners with low back pain, and it's really for that low back pain that is just triggered by running, but it can help a ton, so make sure you save and like this video. For the first exercise, you're going to mobilize the hip. So we're gonna get on all 4s like this. You're gonna straighten one leg out like so, and you're gonna do this on both sides, so it doesn't matter which side you start with. Keep that knee straight. So you're gonna sweep that foot all the way up as high as you can towards the right hand, and then as far as you can towards the back left. Now I'm using this with my right leg, so if you're using your left, it'll be opposite, but you're just focusing on bringing it as far right as you can and as far left. Now when you're doing this, you're also gonna get some side bend in your low back. It shouldn't be painful, and you're really just doing this to help mobilize the hip. I recommend about 10 reps on each side. This is really good to do also post-run. For the second exercise, you're gonna need a light weight. I just have a 10-pound weight. Don't worry so much about the weight selection because this is not a strength exercise. We're still on the hip mobility exercises. You're gonna do this one on both sides as well for about 10 reps. So all I'm gonna do, and this really helps to work on hip rotation. So you're gonna lay on your back. I'm gonna put the weight in my right hand, so I'm gonna work on my left hip rotation to start. So I'm gonna bring my right knee up to hip height, and I'm gonna cross it over my left leg as I try to tap that knee to the ground, and I come back up. This is a super dynamic movement. I'm not holding the stretch for a long period of time. I'm just crossing that knee over, keeping my weight over my shoulder. This helps to keep the ribs back. And I'm dissociating my thoracic spine from my low back and hips as I do this with the weight. You're gonna do about 10 each side, and it should feel pretty good on your hips and low back. From the other side, just so you can see, I want you to just see that I am bringing that knee all the way across my body to get the full benefits of my pelvis rotating over my femur, in this case, over my right femur. Now we're working into some lumbar stabilization because the lumbar spine has so much excessive movement when we're running. Now we want to stabilize it because that's the whole goal of the lumbar spine, is to stabilize while the hip is moving, while the hip is pushing off the ground. So you're going to take a yoga block or a block that's just a couple inches tall, put it on the ground, and you're gonna put one knee on top, and you're gonna get into this all 4s position. So it's gonna look a little unlevel in your pelvis because one knee is on the block. Now from this position, all you're gonna do is drop the opposite knee down towards the ground and then lift it up. Drop down, lift up. So you're getting a little bit of rotation in your low back and in your pelvis. Here you're doing about 10 on each side. So from here, you're just getting a little bit of rotation in your low back, and you're really working through the pelvic rotation as well. So I'm just using my hip to pull up, and I'm pulling my knee up to just about the opposite knee's height. I'm not lifting it too far up. And when I've done 10, I'm gonna switch sides and do the other side. So this works on that multifidus stability, which is a deep stability muscle in the lumbar spine, part of our deep core complex. This also is a really good exercise if you have SI joint pain or tailbone pain. For the 4th exercise, we are going into a side plank position like this, And we're gonna start with our knees on the ground. Now all you're gonna do, we're gonna lift the hips up like so, and my elbows on the ground. I'm gonna place my hand right under my chest, kind of on my stomach region, and all I'm gonna do is slightly rotate my trunk a couple inches towards the ground, and then I'm gonna come back up. Slight rotation, breathe, and come back up. If you want, you can bring that top leg straight out as a progression. Rotate, come back up. You'll also feel this in your bottom hip working. Make sure you breathe through this. You're basically rotating your sternum from facing straight to now facing diagonal towards the ground and back up. And I want you to do that on both sides. About 10 on each side would be great. This obviously also works your core and your obliques because you're in that side plank position. All of this is working together. It needs to be nice and stable in order for us to run without pain and have the proper biomechanics. Now, one thing I did not talk about in this video is how when we're improving our hip mobility, when we're improving that range of motion where our hip is behind us and we're able to push off the ground, we also need more glute stability so we can control our hip through that range. So in this next video, I'm gonna walk you through exactly how you can work into more glute stability. And this will help prevent instability in the hip, which can help prevent injuries as well. So I'll see you in the next video.